SwimOutlet.com delivers the best online shopping experience. With an extensive selection and the lowest prices, you're guaranteed to find the product you need. Here's what you get. Free shipping on all orders over $49. Free 1 to 2 day shipping on all orders over $99. All orders placed by 6 p.m. ship out the same day. Shop at SwimOutlet.com, the web's most popular swim shop.
Welcome everyone to Race Day, sponsored by SwimOutlet.com, the web's most popular swim shop. I'm your host, Jeff Commings, and I'm here in the Phoenix studios at Swimming World to bring you the first of what will be 8 shows analyzing each final session from the pool at the London Aquatic Center. And joining me each day from the building they call the Stingray is John Lohn and Tiffany Elias, who had 2 great seats for all the action today. Hi guys, how you doing?
Good, Jeff. How are you?
Hey, Jeff.
I'm doing great, but you guys must still be kind of riding this wave of energy that just had to be flowing through that building today.
It was a great first night, definitely. Definitely a day of drama from the morning to the night, but all in all, you have to like what we saw here.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Tiffany. Sorry.
Really exciting, but today was a treat.
Yeah, and Tiffany, this being your first Olympics, I'm sure it was just unlike any meet you've ever seen before.
Yeah, it's a totally different platform. I think trials was really exciting, but seeing all the international athletes just is a totally different level. And like John said, today I think drama was a really, really big storyline for a lot of the events.
Yeah, and we'll get into each of the drama, especially, obviously, the big story was Tae Hwan Park. We'll get to that when we talk about the 400 free. We'll start with that men's 400 IM, which was the first event off the blocks tonight. Ryan Lochte, the gold medal, 4:05.18, the best time in a textile suit. Thiago Pereira of Brazil, second, 4:08.86, and Kosuke Hagino of Japan, third, 4:08.94. The big shock here, Michael Phelps, the defending Olympic champion, 4:09.28. It just really looked to me like he was never in that race from the start.
He didn't have any pop, Jeff. That's the first time he hasn't medaled in an Olympic race since he was a 15-year-old when he was 5th in the 200 fly. There was just nothing. In any of the 4 strokes, he didn't have his normal power off the walls. It's a red flag for him. What's he going to be able to do the rest of the way here? I don't think anybody was shocked at all that Ryan Lochte won the race, because that's what a lot of people anticipated. But I think there was tons of shock that Michael wasn't on that second step for the medal.
You know, from the very get-go, looked like Phelps jammed that first 50, so it didn't look like he was fully there. And then afterwards, I had a chance to see the swimmers both down in the mix zone, Ryan and Phelps, after their swims, and Michael's takeaway was he was extremely frustrated. That's really the word he said over and over again in his recap. Is he said, "I'm just frustrated. That wasn't how I really wanted to get things kicked off." He said he felt fine the first half, but just had a really hard time getting to that next level. Lochte, on the other hand, said he felt really good. He knew going into this that he had the win in him, so no shocker there. But he said he was going to go talk to Phelps and see how he felt after that race. So they're definitely going to try to help Phelps' mentality get back in there.
Yeah, especially since we really need him tomorrow for that 400 free relay. I mean, that was why he scratched the 200 free. So hopefully he can get, I would imagine he's not going to do the prelims of the 400 free relay, so he's got the morning off to kind of readjust and recalculate. But, I personally am really excited to see Thiago Pereira get that silver medal. He's been on the outside looking in for so many years. John, you've been watching Thiago for many years as well. I mean, what did you think of that swim?
He finally delivered on a big stage, and that's something that's been missing from his career. He's had some good in-season times along the way in a 200 IM, a 400 IM, but he's kind of fallen a little bit off the radar when there was a pressurized moment. He got that done today. Good start for Brazil, which has a chance to have a pretty good all-around meet here between Bruno Fratis and Cesar Cielo coming up down the road. So that definitely should get those guys off on the right note.
Well, speaking of a country that's often running off to a good start, China, 2 gold medals tonight. First one was in the men's 400 freestyle. Sun Yang almost got that world record, 3:40.14. Tae Hwan Park, who was the subject of lots of drama, finished second, the defending champion, 3:42.06. And then Peter Vanderkay of the United States, 3:44.69. Just to kind of inform viewers who maybe aren't fully aware, there was initially a disqualification in prelims. Tae Hwan Park was disqualified for a false start, and then there was an appeal, and then the FINA Bureau stepped in and said, we're going to go ahead and overrule this, and Tae Hwan Park's allowed to swim. I kind of get the feeling that maybe all the drama surrounding this took a little bit of the edge off Tae Hwan Park, because I think in that third 100, when usually he takes off, he didn't. And I don't know if there was any kind of mental kind of edge that was taken off by this drama, or maybe just seeing Sung Yang right with him.
Well, it's definitely tough anytime you're living in a state of uncertainty. And look, for several hours, he thought he was out of this, or at least at best hopeful that he could get reinstated. So there's an edge that comes off of there. At the same time, I think Sun Yang's just in another league in terms of being able to pull away in the latter half of a distance race, and we saw that. And you mentioned, Jeff, what a great night for China. As we go through this, what a great night for the Pacific Rim. If you look at Japan, China, Australian women winning that relay, that area of the world just cleaned up.
Absolutely. Tiffany, we talked at trials in this after watching the 400 free when Peter Vanderkay and Connor Dwyer went 1-2. We were happy to see that, but we all kind of agreed that middle distance freestyle for the United States wasn't looking too good, and here goes PVK getting that bronze medal.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, Jeff, because that's exactly what I was going to say. I was shocked that Peter really put together such a solid prelims to get in there for lane 5. And getting on that medal stand for the bronze was, I thought, completely shocking, and I'm so proud of that. But on top of that, Connor Dwyer getting 5th place, you know, we really were uncertain where the men's freestyle was going to be here. And John and I were actually discussing earlier as well how this is going to set Vanderkay up for the 4x200 relay, because he swam much faster than we had anticipated.
Jeff, yeah, and but Tiffany just mentioned, I don't think there is any way, even though Peter didn't qualify for the relay pool officially in that 4x2, how can you leave a guy off a good 400 free? I think they got to find a way to put him on that 800 free relay.
Yeah, there's already 7 people, you know, if you count Davis Tarwater, in line for that relay, and you add PVK, that makes 8. But I'm sure Greg Troy is going to kind of crunch the numbers and see what can happen. There are a lot of possibilities.
There's no rule that says a guy who qualifies has to absolutely swim here. And while that would be a tough scenario to deal with, that's life. And you got to put your 4 best guys out there. And a guy who goes 3:44 in the 400 free, damn well will have an impressive 200 free for that relay in there.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll see what happens, I guess, in about 3 days' time. All right, moving on to the women's 400 IM. China's Shiwen, the first world record of these Olympics, 4:28.43. Elizabeth Beisel of the United States second, 4:31.27, and Li Juanju of China getting third, 4:32.91. Now I gotta say, Shiwen, we were already saying she's going to be a force to reckon with in that 200 IM, but I gotta say she's going to be in another galaxy in that 200 IM. Just watching the way she swam that 400. Is
it possible that the world record we talked about so long as being the one that's going to stand on the books the longest, that being Ariana Kukors's 206 low from the tech suit era, could actually go? The way she closed tonight, she closed in 58.68. Lochte closed in 58.65. 300 slower is all she was in what Lochte closed in the 400 IM. Any woman who's not within 3 body lengths ahead of her, forget about it. She's just going to reel you in.
Well, she did that at World Championships too. She reeled everybody in, and so it wasn't a surprise to see her go by Elizabeth Beisel on that breaststroke, but still, to go 58.6 is just absolutely phenomenal.
You know, watching that race up here, Beisel looked great going into that freestyle leg, but like you just said, John said, well, she did this at World, so we saw it coming, but it was just unbelievable to watch her motor past Beisel, catch up to her and pass her at the halfway mark and just take it home. For 16 years old, she was a pro out there. She looked unbelievable. That 200 IM is going to be a great one to look forward to.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of happy about Elizabeth Beisel. You know, she's been consistent 431s. I think everybody was thinking after she went 431 in prelims, maybe she'd get under 430. But, you know, to be able to hold her own and not, you know, overspin herself on that first 50 to freestyle and still go for her lifetime best has to, you know, be something that she's got to be proud of, even though I'm sure she was thinking she'd win.
Just burns a little bit when you see someone with a 58 fly by you, because, you know, her 102, it was comparable to what she's been doing, but there's no way you can keep up with that speed.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing you can do. All right, last final of the night was the women's 400 freestyle relay. Australia surprised to me a gold medal, 333.15. The Netherlands, the defending world Olympic champions, 333.79. The United States snuck in the third, 334.24. Now, you guys know we've been talking about the Dutch for a long time. They're the defending Olympic and world champions, and what the United States can do. And we were saying Australia has an outside chance for a medal. I was surprised to see Australia hang on. I mean, they had a lot of untapped talent there that really stepped up today.
I think the big thing that broke there really, and look, credit to Australia for doing what it did, very steady legs across the way, but the Dutch got a 54 high split from Inge Dekker leading off, and it put them way behind the 8 ball from the get-go. And even though Renomi Kromowidjojo closed to a 51.93, I think that's the fastest split ever. You can't dig out of a hole like that. So they had 3 excellent parts, but really Inge Dekker cost them on the front of that. Now, Australia did have to put together a solid relay, and clearly they did that. But the Dutch kind of lost that, in my opinion.
Yeah, after that first leg, I was kind of wondering what was going to happen, and then Kromowidjojo dove in the pool, and I was thinking that she was going to get her, but I think it was just Australia just had too much on the line here. They really wanted that gold medal, and it was just one of those races I was really happy to see. And speaking of the United States getting bronze, what did you guys think of that relay? I mean, it was solid, all 53s. I mean, it was just, just the tenths just didn't add up for a gold.
It was solid, but it wasn't anything impressive. I think it was the minimum that they needed to do to put together a solid relay. But when you have legs like 51.9 out of Kromowidjojo, there's only so much you can do. Schmidt was a 53.5 or 53.6, so it still was a solid swim for her. But of course, like Beisel, when you're next to such a dominant leg like that, it makes you look like you're going so much slower than you actually are. So I think the U.S. ladies put together a good win, but it would have taken some pretty impressive swims for them to be competitive for the gold.
And this was the Olympic debut of Missy Franklin. John, what did you think of her first swim?
Of the event she's racing here individually, that's the weakest. So for her to be 53 mid leading off, that's a solid start. That bodes really well, I think, for her 200 free. She looks strong the back half. The 100 free is not going to be the event where she medals here. But I think she now can walk out there, medal in the 100, 200 back, 200 freestyle is going to be there. So it was a good start for her.
Yeah, and everybody talks about their first race getting the cobwebs out. I would say that's a pretty good first race for her.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the 2 semifinals from today. The first was the women's 100 butterfly. Dana Vollmer, amazing swim, 56.36. Alicia Coutts, the other swimmer under 57, 56.85. Also making top 8, Jeanette Odison. World record holder Sarah Strostrom, and the United States Claire Donahue. A little bit of a surprise. I was kind of concerned about whether the Olympic jitters would get to her, but she's really pulled through.
I think that's a great first final ever for Claire. John and I were talking about that a little bit earlier. We've said going into the meet that the women's butterfly is on the weaker side, at least for the 200. With Dana out in front on that 100, it's right where she needed to be. Should be interesting to see if she's got a 55 in her tomorrow, but really happy Claire got in there. I wasn't expecting U.S. to get both ladies in there, but going into the final tomorrow, the only country with 2 swimmers in the final, so I think that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and Vollmer, she's doing what she's known for, very consistent across the way. It's fast every time. She was an American record in the morning, 56.25. So the question is, does she have a little bit more, or is this about where she's going to be?
Well, see, but the thing is, John, consistency is key for Vollmer, but the thing is also she goes slower in the final than her semifinal. And with, Alicia Coutts 5/10 back, I mean, could be a little bit too close for comfort.
Yeah. I'm wondering, actually, Alicia Coutts going 56 high, how much faster can she go? I'm not sure. I think Dana has enough of a cushion where this will be comfortable tomorrow. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. That will be an intense final. Speaking of another intense final, tomorrow will be the men's 100 breast. After semis, Cameron Vandenberg of South Africa, 58.83, his first time under 59. The defending Olympic champion, 2-time defending champion, Kosuke Kitajima just got in there, 6th place. Brendan Hansen, the lone American in this field, in 8th place. What do you guys see shaking out in this final tomorrow, where everybody's going to be under a minute?
Vanderberg really separated himself tonight. The guy off the start is unbelievable. He comes up and it seemingly has a half a body length lead from the get-go, and that's awfully hard to reel in. He looks so strong. And then you can throw a blanket over the other 7 guys, really. I think 3/10 separate 2nd through 8th, or roughly in that area. That's and what's going to happen out of that, who knows?
Well,
what's interesting?
Go ahead, Tiffany.
Well, what's interesting is that I was downstairs with Brendan right after his race. While he was waiting, watching the second heat swim, the first heat was so much faster than the second heat. Brendan was 6th in after the first heat and then still qualified 8th. So only 2 people beat him from the second heat. So that just goes to show how fast heat number 1 was. But standing down there while Brendan watched and waited to see if he made it into the finals, he said he felt good. He was nervous to see if he'd get a second swim. But after he found out that he was going to be the 8th position, he said, outside smoke, they're not going to see me coming. So I think with experience on his side, and notoriously he's gotten better with more swims, we could see a bit of an improvement from him tomorrow.
Yeah, but he's got to go 58. I mean, Cameron Vanderberg has done it. Kosuke Kitajima did it earlier this year. So they already have set the bar high. And I got to say, watching Kitajima in his semifinal, looked like he was going out 200 pace at first 50 and was just kind of trying to run everybody down. So I think he was just being comfortable. And also, he's not fully shaved. He had kind of a little bit of growth on his face. So he's kind of playing that game Aaron Pearsall was playing at the Olympics, you know, not being fully prepared for this. So never count that guy out, especially at the Olympics.
This is a guy who's always got it done when it matters the most. He doesn't. He's won world championships, but it's not a real concern. All he cares about is winning Olympic titles. He's got 4 of them. We'll find out if number 5 comes up. But like you said, Jeff, he's capable of really popping tomorrow.
And with Michael Phelps not getting his gold in the 400 IM, he still has that opportunity to be the first man to win 3 consecutive gold medals. So, all right, so looking ahead to tomorrow, I think the race that I'm most looking forward to is that women's 400 freestyle. Camille Muffat has just been so consistently good, and she's been kind of toying with strategies throughout the whole year. I can't say there's going to be a sub 4 minute, but she's going to be the one to really get it out there and, you know, really tell people like Federica Pellegrini and Allison Schmidt that they're going to have to catch her. And I'm really excited to see how the strategy plays out here.
Don't forget Rebecca Adlington. This place has been rocking when the British swimmers step up, and obviously that's going to happen in the home games. Rebecca Adlington's going to have a lot of support behind her.
I do too, and I think she's going to really use that home crowd, and I would kind of think that's going to really fuel her, but I kind of feel like she's going to be the outside looking in, but it always depends on how Pellegrini does. She's always, you know, you just never know until you see her swim, so I think it's going to be a great final. That's going to be my favorite final tomorrow.
Well, that's what's great about these games is that you never really know what's going to happen until the race gets in. There were definitely a lot of surprises tonight, which adds to the drama. I think I'm most looking forward to that 100 backstroke just because it's such a close race. Really interested to see what these swimmers are going to do in prelims and who's going to finally make that top 8 in a couple days.
And then I just want to see how much Australia wins the 400 free relay by, because I don't think anybody's going to touch them there.
I don't think anybody's going to touch them either. That's why it's going to be an exciting race. Just after 2008, I'm kind of thinking, how can you top that?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
you can't.
You can't, but you know, I'm sure Australia's going to try. They may, you know, push the world record. Who knows? All right, guys. Well, that does it for day one. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure you guys are going to hit the hay and be well rested for tomorrow.
Jeff, we appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
All right, see you guys tomorrow.
Take care.
All right, so that's John Lohn and Tiffany Elias joining us from the London Aquatic Center. And that'll do it for our first race day show here for the London Olympics. Join us tomorrow for day 2. I'm Jeff Commings. Thanks for watching.